So the idea of value propositions, and we hear a lot of these words thrown around, like value proposition. And so they get you thinking because there's value and then there's a proposition. But a lot of times when we discuss the idea of value proposition, we compare it to like a little brown dog. And there's short-haired dogs, and there's long-haired dogs, and there's Chihuahuas, and then there's Great Danes. And so we're kind of like tinkering around with what type of dog we want, you know, what fits in our purse or what's manly to go jogging through the park with, right? But the value proposition isn't a brown dog. It's a blue rhino, right? It's this massive, you know, horn out, breaking through the walls type of I'm here and I'm going to solve your problems, right? And most of our value propositions aren't that. They're the, well, we add value and they're confusing. So your question is, how do you create those value propositions? Well, one, you have to use extreme behavior. So you have to go as hard and as far as possible. I mean, for instance, if you sell candy, you might say that your value proposition is curing cancer. Now, it seems crazy, but we know that sweet things create positive mindsets. Positive mindsets can do some really amazing things, like help you overcome horrible things like cancer, right? We all know that achieving greatness is all in the mind. So I can say I sell candy, I really cure cancer. A little bit of an extreme value proposition, but as I begin to back off of those things, right? As you're more extreme, as you begin to back off, you find that, one, it creates value. So as a sales trainer, I tell people, I help people look past conventional wisdom, right? Because that's the stuff that stops people. Selfish behavior. So another key thing with creating a value proposition is the fact that there are things that we talk about in public because they're socially responsible. The same way, the deep moving things that move us, that bring a tear to our eye, like loss and love and pain, should be part of our value proposition, but most of the time they're not. It's this fluffy, kind of an intangible, we help make you more money. So I always say two criteria if you need brass tacks. One is focusing around love and focusing around money. So you can't go wrong with those. Now, if you think about love as a whole, that can be more recognition at work, more satisfaction, right? Love of yourself. But love and then money, saving money, adding more money. And so there's really no scientific way to create a value proposition. There's no perfect 7-step plan. But what I always like to say is, what are you afraid to say? And then say that. And then you can always wordsmith it. And then another key thing with value proposition is try it out on people. For instance, the brown dog, blue rhino example. That started off as a brown dog, red peacock, but it didn't work out, so we went with the blue rhino, right? As more people give us feedback, we're able to make sense of that. So a value proposition is good, but it needs to evolve. So I think that's the key. As you're learning from customers what they think your value is, don't be afraid to change it. So there's no perfect one, but if you're not talking about love, that's how someone increases love for themselves, or money for themselves, then your value proposition is neither a value and it's a horrible proposition.